Hello and welcome to the Knitting Traditions podcast. My name is Inga and you're coming to visit me in my yarny corner of the internet on the west coast of Norway. It's just a week until Christmas and I really wanted to record again before then because I'm in my third trimester and I just don't know when I'm going to be able to record again. I'm still 5 or more. There's 5 weeks left until I'm due, but you never know. And also it's hard to find the time to record when it's daylight. The beginning of the video was without artificial lighting, and it is the middle of the day, the lightest time of the day. So now you know what we're working with. Artificial light it is because we can't find any more light. I'm enjoying some herbal concoction tea thingy in my little Christmas mug. God jul is what we say in Norway. And I am wearing the dagny dress by Pickles in their tweed. It's a fingering weight tweed base. I made this a few years ago. I'll put in a b-roll of me wearing it. I very seldom wear this dress. I think it's a combination of, it has no shaping. I think I would wear it more if it was thicker. It has like a late autumn Christmassy vibe because of the color. It's not the kind of red that I think of Christmas. This is more of an orangey red, and I do like this red, but it's just, I don't know, it never seems to be what I want to wear. It is comfortable, but it's a very thin, flimsy fabric. I don't find it very flattering, and also not very functional because it is so thin. But right now I'm running very warm, so I'm just wearing this and some wool socks and I'm good. I'm also wearing, when recording, my garter blanket that I made in Raumafino. I talked about it 2 episodes ago, I think. Just because there's no heating on in this room because electricity prices, but wool is all you need. I'm happy to be a knitter, and I have some finished objects to show you. I have 3, but one of them is wrapped up, and that was the socks that I made for my brother. So let's see if I can show without knocking everything over. I failed. I knocked something over. Last episode I was showing these sock tubes that I used some hillesvåg wild sheep wool for, together with some silk mohair, and the tube I made was long enough for 4 individual socks, so 2 pairs of socks. These 2 are the very ends of the tubes with cuffs cast on and bind off. They have just been put on holders with life stitches to receive toes and heels later. But the middle section became 2 socks for my brother, 1 pair of socks. And I used some leftover, I think I ended up using leftover ozetta in a charcoal color, together with silk mohair in a charcoal color that I have leftovers with. And I used that for cuffs, heels, and toes. Made the cuffs a bit longer, and I think it's good. Did I show it last time? Maybe I did. It's definitely finished now though, and wrapped up. I might have shown it. If I did, then excuse my repetition. I have a foggy brain. Okay, and After recording the last episode, I had made a cowl for my other brother who turned out to be too small. I think it's a good cowl for me, so I think I'm going to keep it. But I really did want to see if I could whip out another one. And I had this yarn in my stash. If you are an old-time viewer, you know that for last Christmas I knit my brother a sweater in intarsia. And I was using this yarn. It's the Eco Highland wool from Viking garn. And it's 220 meters to 100 grams, but they come in 50 gram balls. And I had 4 colors for that sweater. Number 218, 212, 208, and 200. And don't ask me which is which, but those are the 4 colors I had. And I still had leftovers. I think I had 1 ball in each color almost. And 2 of the colors had a little bit extra as well. So I decided to whip out a cowl for him using all 4 colors, not intentionally. This is sort of based on how my cowl patterns are done. So just ribbing, color work, and ribbing. I have patterns for 3 other ones. I don't think I'll write this up. It's very simple. I started out with this color in the dark brown, and I just knit and did color work knitting to establish color work. So I don't know, maybe I did like 6, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, 5, 1, something like that. And then like a section like that repeated or something. Yeah, so there's like some repetition. It doesn't really matter. I established the color work on the first row, and from then on I just knit in that established pattern, following the color work going up. Nothing changes really. And then I break it off by just doing like a single row of just one color or 2 rows of just one color. And that creates this kind of, this probably has a name. I always think of like Burberry, like the brand, when I see this kind of, or like tartan, maybe? I don't know. But that's what I did. I held the yarn double, and I started with these 2 colors. And then I saw that I was gonna run out of this color because this is the one I had the least of. And it ate up more yarn than I thought it would. So I decided, you know what? It's a scrappy project, and the sweater that I made for him, he wears it all the time. So obviously he likes both the yarn and the colors, and that sweater has all 4 colors. So why not put all 4 colors into this? So it's not intarsia, but it's like color block, kind of. And yeah, I finished off with the other 2 then. And they're not equal length. Like you can see, this is longer, but I figured it was long enough. I wanted to be functional. And when I bound off, I realized that it was the same width as the one that I already made for him that was too small. So I vigorously blocked this. And hopefully, we'll figure out this together now. Hopefully it is bigger. It's bigger! I did it. I put it on a blocking mat after like soaking it for a day. And I really like stretched it out and pinned it down. So it's good. It should be a lot easier for him to get over his head. He hasn't even tried this on, but my boyfriend tried it on, and I have a very small head. It's good for me, but it was tight for him. So hopefully this difference is gonna make all the difference. So I got a new cowl. My brother's getting a cowl for Christmas. It's all good. It's all good. Now I can wrap it up. So yes, that was all the gift knitting for my brothers I have 2 brothers, no sisters. And then I finished another gift yesterday. And this has been making an appearance for a while because it's a long scarf. This, I've talked about it in the last episode as well. It's a stitch pattern that is just knitting and slipping stitches with yarn in front. So you knit 3, slip 1 with yarn in front, and then that kind of shifts on the back side so that where the slip stitch is the middle of the 3 knit stitches on the other side. Purlwise has a free pattern that uses the same stitch. It's called the No Purl Scarf, I believe someone pointed out. I didn't use that pattern. I just freestyled because I had 4 balls of yarn that Matthias got me from Madrid, and I cast on straight away, and he's getting this for Christmas. And if he doesn't wear it enough, because there was a lot of knitting in this scarf, I will wear it because I really like it. And I have not blocked it yet. I don't think I can show it very nicely with this dress and this lighting, so I'll put in a photo here. I have a marker on here, so since the last episode, this is how much knitting I got done. This is 1 ball of yarn, I believe. I had 4. So it's enough for wrapping around the neck once and then still having some ends hanging down. I think it's really good length. And I knit it with my higher sharps on 5mm needles. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. It is a superwash yarn. I would have been even happier with it if it was non-superwash because it would have been warmer. But it was fine to knit with, and it has 0 itch factor, so I think it's going to be good for him. And yeah, it's very squishy. I do think it's going to pill a lot, just because when knitting with it, it did get quite like fluffy, and I do think those fluffy hairs will pill with wear. So we'll see how that holds up. Hopefully it won't be too bad, because that would be a shame with all this knitting if it ends up looking like bumpy rag. And it's not going to be easy to depill it either, because it's not a stockinette fabric. It has a lot of going in and out that makes the squishiness so squishy. So let's just hope it holds up okay enough. That's the thing, okay enough. And I'm not sure if I want to block it or not. I feel like it looks really nice now, and if I wash it, I need to lay it flat to dry, and it's very long. And I mean, he has seen me knitting on it, but it would be kind of nice if he didn't know that it was like finished and that it was for him. Not that I know if he would know if it was. Anyways, I am getting distracted by myself. I could always block it after Christmas as well. I don't know. I'll have a think about it. We shall see. So yeah, the socks, the cowl, the scarf, 3 gift knits done. And I have 1 gift knit left on my kind of to-do list for Christmas. Why do we do this? Why do we put pressure on ourselves? I don't know. I'll probably not be able to do it next year, so that's kind of why I'm trying to do it this year. But I do really want to cast on something for me. I want to finish another big whip. I want to cast on something for Nelly. So I am going to try and finish this last gift, and then we'll see. So this is also for Matthias. I made socks, Christmas stockings, or Christmas socks really, for the family a few years ago, and now that we are having a kid, starting a family, we'll be celebrating Christmas together, and I wanted to create a stocking for him as well. So this is the pembroke stocking. I have used a combination of sandnesgarn perfect, the sock yarn, gynt is that green, and smart is that red. And I have finished the cuff and did the I-cord bind off. I even tacked it down with just some whip stitches on the inside because I did not want this to like fold upwards. I want it to stay. And I did an I-cord hanging thing that was in the pattern as well. I'll put all the information down below in the description box about pattern names and designers. And for this one, this is actually the first time I've used a little I-cord maker. So you put the yarn in this thing and you turn the thing and it creates like an I-cord coming out, and it was a lot easier than I had anticipated, and it looks really good. I am very happy with that I-cord, and all of a sudden a new world has opened up. I no longer have to dread patterns with I-cords because I can use that little thing. So that was a lot of fun. Now is the last finishing, and that is crocheting the vertical stripes of red that goes into every purl ridge all the way. So I did one, and it took so long. So I went on to doing the ones that are just underneath the foot because they are shorter. It still takes a long time though. So note to myself is that if I knit this in the future, or if any other of, because I have 4 patterns from this designer's for stockings, 4 different colorwork motifs, which I hope to make at some point, so we all have like proper Christmassy Christmas stockings in several years. If those do have the same technique where you do colorwork with purling and then crochet in stripes later, I think it would be a lot quicker for me to do colorwork with 3 strands of yarn and just don't purl. So instead of doing purl stitches, I would carry 3 colors with me and do 3 colored colorwork in the round, which means I wouldn't have to purl with colorwork. I wouldn't have to crochet on all of these strands afterwards and have all of these ends to weave in. And yeah, I'm gonna do that if I have to do this again. If you're making this pattern, up to you what you prefer, but I just think it would be better for me to do it that way. So yeah, note to self. But now I need to finish those stripes, weave in the ends. It's already been washed and blocked. It's hard to block a gigantic sock. Can't really use the sock blockers, and yeah. So I'll do these, weave them in, see how it looks. If it looks wonky, I might block it again on a blocking mat, but I need this to be ready within a week, and that should be fine. I did these stripes yesterday, so, and finished the scarf yesterday, so it should be doable. I just need to get it done, and he has not seen this one, so this is something I need to do when he is not here. And I still have work next week, so we'll see. We'll see. Getting there. So that was a whip. And yes, I also made some progress on my, I'm gonna call it a transactional knit, because I received a sheepskin, she's receiving a sweater, And yeah, I'm definitely more of a selfish knitter, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I knit because it makes me happy, and knitting a construction that I am not enjoying for someone else kind of takes the fun out of it for me. It would be different if it was a pattern that I enjoyed knitting, but I feel like this has to be done perfectly according to pattern, so that creative freedom that I usually do to modify patterns, I can't really do. So, but we are making progress. I am making myself make progress because I am getting a bit stressed out if I have a lot left to do after the baby comes here, because maybe I have no knitting time. Maybe, you know, you never know what's gonna happen. So I really do want to make a lot of progress on this before she gets here. And I have, last time as well, I had finished the ribbing on the body, which is a twisted rib for 10 centimeters. If I made it for myself, I'd probably do regular ribbing for 6 centimeters. And there's also the twisted rib on the cuffs of the sleeve. Again, if I'd made it for myself, I would have done regular ribbing just because it's more pleasant to knit and faster. And I've also been knitting the sleeves 2 at a time with magic loop so that they are identical. I'd probably just knit it on a small circular for me, and the increases would have been a little bit random, but that would have been fine. But in the end, this is going to be a very pattern accurate sweater. And I've just finished the increases on the sleeves, so now it's just 10 centimeters of stockinette left. So I could go over to my small circulars. I might actually do that. Hopefully the gauge will not alter too much. That's the only thing that's kind of keeping me from changing from magic loop to smaller circulars, because often when you knit on small circulars, your gauge will be tighter than if you're knitting on a larger circumference in the round, like the body. And knitting with magic loop kind of gives you the same similar tension as knitting around on a body, because you have all the space on the needles and wire that you don't have. It's more cinched up on the small circular, so we'll see. I have on a row counter, which I received from Garnspecialisten. I'll talk more about them in the acquisition part, but it's a cute little bee one. And after putting that on, it made my life a little bit easier to kind of get the increased interval nice and regular. And if I do one at a time to finish the last 10 centimeters, I might continue using this just to make sure that they are exactly the same. And have on little gingerbread men to kind of make the experience more Christmassy and fun for me. And the yarn that I'm using, I bought from some online yarn store in Norway. It's the alpaca forte. It's a yarn kit for this, which is the rallargenser. Very typical Norwegian colorwork yoke style sweater, knit from the bottom up. More traditional Norwegian would be that you steek the armholes at the end, but that's not happening with this. I think this is it's either a circular yoke or a raglan yoke. I prefer knitting from the top down just because it's easier to try on and get the right length and everything. So if I were to make something like this for myself, I might actually modify it to knit it top down. But it's living in this very cute bag from the Knitting Swan, which I kindly was gifted. This was her Christmas collection, and she's currently working on new prints because she makes them herself and she sews it all up. She's based in the UK, and you get 10% off if you use the code Inga. So I'll put that below as well. And I have made progress on one more whip. I feel like I have 2 more whips. I feel like I have less content than usually, but we're 26 minutes in, so I think there's still something to talk about. This yarn was gifted to me. This is one of the Advent knits from Biche et Bûche, and I am knitting their number 59 scarf. And now I'm folding it over because I'm holding the yarn in here, but I can hold the yarn separate so you can see how nice and wide this scarf is. And it is knit back and forth from one end all the way over to the other, and it really is 3 motifs that repeats. So these are the 3 motifs. So far I have used a lot of the gold, dark gold, and the dark, I think it was dark red. And it's gonna go after this section, which is the same as these. I'm going to use the green, and there will be a motif of probably green and red and green and gold. I don't know when they will be, but they will be. And the yarn is the Le Gros Silk Mohair. I do have a ball band here. Yeah, Le Gros Silk and Mohair. And the scarf uses 3 colors and 2 balls of each color. And this is 50 grams, so it uses 100 grams of 3 colors. And this is the dark khaki. So I'm still on the first ball of all the 3 colors, but as you can see, after finishing the section that was just 1 color, I don't have that much left of these 2, but I still have a lot of green, so because these 2 were also used together in this section. But it will be used an equal amount, I think, for the entirety of the scarf, and I'll see when I have finished all the sections how long it is, and if I still have some yarn left, I can always end with just doing this chart until I run out of yarn. I haven't read through the end of the pattern to see if it's like a similar section on the other side or if they specify how to use up all the yarn, but that is an easy way of using up the yarn you have left until 1 color runs out at least. And I'm really enjoying this. It's turning out a lot more warm toned. I mean, it is very warm toned still, but the dark lighting, I am sorry. There's some really good photos on their website of this pattern and on Instagram, which will show you how it looks in like good lighting. So if you're interested, I recommend checking it out. I finished the red section since last time and I started this, and the only reason I have not knit a lot more on this is because I had all those other knits that I felt like I had to finish. They had a time limit, but when I did pick this up one evening, I just didn't want to put it down. This yarn is really pleasant to knit with. I don't even mind the purling. I really enjoy working with this yarn, and it's also going quite fast on 5.5mm needles, and yeah, I just really enjoy it. So this scarf is for me. And I also have little reindeer on it because it feels Christmassy to me. These colors of red, green, and gold. And also it feels a little bit Harry Pottery. And I'm currently rewatching all the movies with my cousins, so we might be watching, like, we might not finish tomorrow, but we're watching movies tomorrow, the Harry Potter movies. And I think I'm going to be knitting on this. My Gryffindor colors. Yes. So that is another whip. Last whip that has gotten progress, I think, unless something suddenly pops out here, is my Miles shirt jacket. It's been on the needles for a long time now, I feel. I want to have it ready before Nelly gets here because I want to be able to throw this on and just feel kind of comforted and snuggly. and it's going to be very easy to throw on because it's huge. I knit the size large, but I think my gauge is also off, both my normal gauge and my row gauge. I made it longer as well. And I only have the last bit of the last sleeve. And as you can see, because my gauge is off and the body is quite wide, the sleeves aren't super long. So there really isn't that much left to do, like this much only. And I need to attach buttons. This probably would have been done if I had enough yarn when I started knitting on this one day, but I ran out of silk mohair and I did not want to use the wrong kind of, so I had 5 balls of sandnesgarn silk mohair in the gray. Where did I put it? Somewhere. I put it somewhere. And I used that for the entire body, but it was not going to be enough for 2 sleeves. So I bought another ball in the same color, but I think something has changed in the production because the new one that I got felt a lot harder to the touch than the original one that I had from a few years ago in my stash. And also it was slightly darker. So since I didn't have like a full bowl or more of the stashed one, I used the new one for the sleeve, and I did the sleeve in that one, and you can't really see that it's a different one because there's a lot of unspun here. The double stranded hillesvåg unspun is a lot of volume, so the silk mohair just adds like a little bit of strength and durability. But I used the stash one for the cuffs, and I could probably have finished the sleeve maybe with the rest of that, but it would have been yarn chicken. So instead I decided to go back to the store and get another one of the new silk mohair. And I don't know where that ball is, but it is somewhere here. So I just need to finish the sleeve. I'll use the stash one for the cuffs, attach 4 buttons, and it will be done. And I don't even know if I'm gonna bother blocking the sleeves. The body has already been blocked. It's nice and soft. And it took quite a long time because it's so big, and it'll take up the entire bathroom floor. That's where I have heated floors, and that's where I block or lay things flat to dry, really. So I might just start wearing this when it's done, and then it'll get that soak when it needs a wash. Though since this is all natural fibers, it is self-cleansing, and it might never need one unless I get visual stains on it. But yeah, very excited to have this done. It's going to be not very flattering, but very, very comfortable and do all the good things I need it to do. All right, so that was my whips. And I have some acquisitions to show you. I also put together a little giveaway, not a giveaway, it's the prize for the Dream Knit Cowl that I've been running this year. So after Christmas Eve, so let's say the deadline is Christmas Eve because I don't know when I'll be able to record again, but I will pick a winner from the hashtag on Instagram, the Dream Knit Cowl, and I will pick a winner, and then when I record I will share that winner on screen so that that person can contact me, and then I'll get the prize shipped out. Please allow delay if I go into delivery and have to adjust to a new life, but it will be picked and someone will receive it after Christmas. And I like to reuse boxes, so I'm reusing a knit crate box from when they existed, and inside it there is, I wrapped it up for safety for when I'm going to ship it out. There's a ball of rama fino. There is a like a barber cord for holding live stitches. There is some Malabrigo sock yarn in this really nice colorway. There is 2 balls of Kit Couture 100% alpaca. This is really soft. And there's also the Zakami yarn that was donated from them to give in a giveaway. I just didn't get around to it until now. They also donated others that have been shipped out in the past. This is the Cinnamon Stone colorway. It's 74% baby cereal alpaca and 26% silk. 300 meters to 50 grams lace weight yarn. So these are the yarns and the barber cord that will go into the price. So you have until Christmas Eve to cast on or work on something that kind of has been a dream knit of yours, something that you have been wanting but just for some reason haven't gotten around to making. Now is your chance. If you use that hashtag on a photo on Instagram, you could win this. And even if you don't win, I do highly encourage you to cast on something that you've been really wanting, because there's nothing that's better for your knitting mojo than to knit on something that makes you happy. So, and even if it's scary, you know, you're never gonna know if you can do it unless you try, and you'll surprise yourself at what you can figure out if you just have the motivation for it. And yes, so that was the price. If you're not interested in sticking around, you know, hearing about acquisitions, then that's okay. And I will see you when I see you. I hope you have a good time the end of December. If you celebrate or not, enjoy your days and make whatever makes you happy. And I will go into acquisitions. I wanted to show you a blanket that I was gifted from a friend at my baby shower. And she created this beautiful garter blanket where the technique is to start in the corner and you do increases until you've used half the yarn or gotten to where you want to be. And then usually you'd knit 3 or 4 rows without doing anything, just to have like a nice corner that doesn't cinch in too much. I think she's done that. It looks like it. And then you do the opposite where you decrease on each side until you have 3 stitches left and then you bind off. And it's so nice. This is 100% lamb's wool, and it's just so squishy, so light and airy. And just the perfect kind of blanket that I'm going to be using for the baby. So this has already been assigned to the car seat. So not for, if it's super cold, I'm going to need something more than this. But it's just like a nice wool layer for some warm comfort. And I'm very honored that she made this for me. There's no one to receive knitted gifts better than a knitter, I think, because knitters do understand the amount of not just hours that go into knitting, but the fact that people spend their free time knitting something for you is just extra special and highly, highly appreciated. So that was one acquisition. The other one was a silk mohair ball for finishing the Miles shirt jacket. And let's see what else. I got a parcel in the post from a company. It's a Danish company, I believe, but they also have a Norwegian website. It's called, I'll show the little label. It's Garnspecialisten, and it's not focusing. I will put links below. They focus on using dead stock yarn from the fashion industry, and then they resell it to knitters at quite an affordable price for what you get. And they contacted me and asked if I would want to try any of the yarn, and I said I would love to, especially if you have some like natural fibers, just because I enjoy knitting with it the most for several reasons. And they surprised me with the parcel. I had no idea what they were going to send. I had a look at their website, and I must say I was very pleasantly surprised by the yarn that arrived. If you are interested, I had a look at their website. It's in Norwegian or Danish, not in English, but they do have a tab, and you go down to contact for international customers, and they have information there about shipping internationally. So they do ship all over the world, so they have like shipping rates there and stuff. And if you look at their website, even though it's not in English, you can always use the Google Translate if you are in a Google Chrome tab, I think. But a lot of fibers have the same name in English as Norwegian, Danish, Swedish. 3 separate languages, but similar. Bomull is cotton, but silk is silke, ull is wool, merino is merino, yak is yak, alpaca is alpaca. So you can get an idea. Polyamide, yeah. So they sent me something, and they sent me more than I thought they were gonna send me, and these are some really nice fibers. So I wanted to show you what is probably maybe the one that I like the most, both, you know, touch wise, but it's also really pretty color. And this is a lot softer than what I thought it would be based on the photo on the website, and the color is also really nice. It's like that silvery sagey green. I think the color is called salvie, which is sage. And this is a hank with 250 grams. This is their baby alpaca suri. It's 80% baby alpaca and 20% suri alpaca. It's 100 meters to 50 grams. So normally in my head that would say 200 meters to 100. Okay, so it's like a worsted. But the alpaca silk content is heavier than what wool is. So based on how it looks, if I look at the strand of yarn, I would probably think of this as a fingering sport weight. It looks thinner than a DK even to me. So that is something to note, that different fibers have different weights. Wool is usually very lightweight, but it feels so nice and soft, and yeah. But a lot of people use like suri silk, alpaca silk as a substitution for silk mohair. This to me is more like a yarn on its own. Like it has a little bit of fluff, but I wouldn't hold it as like a yarn to follow with something else. I would knit this on its own, and 250 grams is not going to be enough for a garment for me, but I have a little girl on the way, and I think this would be so cute in something for her. And I have several patterns that I might make. A lot of them are from Knitting for Olive, just because they have a lot of nice patterns, but I also have some saved from Sandnesgarn, and yeah. I'm feeling like a ruffle situation would be really cute, but I'll have a think about it. There's also this cone of 250 grams that they sent. This is their Freddie Merino Alpaca Mohair. 30% merino, 35% alpaca, 35% mohair, 100 meters to 50 grams. So again, 200 to 100. So these are the same meterage to weight, and they look quite similar in thickness as well. This probably looks a little bit thicker, and that might be owing to the wool component adding more bulk to the length. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I do think they could be combined. But I'm feeling like this would be nice for like a ruffle dress, and then this one, 250 grams should be enough to maybe make cabled sweater situation for not like baby, but 2-year, 3-year-old. I do know that white is probably not the, you know, way to go for a toddler, small child, but I mean, it's very traditional. And yeah, I'm toying with the idea. They also sent this cone. This is 230 grams, it says. It's 100% Italian merino in the stövet brun, which means dusty brown. And this is 150 meters to 50 grams, so 300 per 100. That is somewhere between a sport and a DK, isn't it? Looking at it, I would say sport, probably. And they sent 2 of this one, but it feels very light. I can't understand that this is 250 and this is 230. I will probably weigh them and see if that is accurate. It just feels a lot lighter. Can 20 grams be the difference? Maybe. But yes, this as well, it's not going to be enough, I think, for like a sweater for me. It could be accessories though, or it could be something for Nelly. It is a really nice brown color. It could make for some really nice pants bordering on pantyhose situation for kindergarten age. Those are very popular here. People make like ribbed pants. I think Drops has a free pattern for that, and that one is stretchy in both directions, and people make them really long and roll up the feet so the child can kind of grow in them. So maybe that is what I'm going to make with this. I will say that out of the yarns that they sent, this Italian 100% merino is what feels the stiffest. Not scratchy, just hard kind of. And it's giving me the same kind of vibes that the Knitting for Olive merino gives me. I don't find the Knitting for Olive merino very soft. Maybe that is an unpopular opinion because everyone seems to love it. But yeah, no. I feel like there's a lot more soft, more rustic yarns that are softer than this kind of merino. But it might soften up a lot with washing. And by soft, I do not mean non-itchy or itchy. I mean that the touch of it is not super squishy or like buttery. Does that make sense? It's very dry feeling. The biggest thing they sent me was this gigantic cone of yarn. This is a kilo, I think. I think this is 1 kilo of 50% merino, 20% angora, and 30% viscose. And viscose is, it's made of plants, fibers, but the process of making viscose is kind of breaking it all down and then through man-made processes creating the viscose fiber, I think. But it's no synthetics in this. And the meterage of this, it says it's 5,000 meters to a kilo. So that is 500 grams to 100 grams, which is exactly the same as the Knitting for Olive merino. Yes, they are exactly the same kind of meterage and they look very similar as well. But this one has Angora content and viscose content. That one is just merino. But that means I have a lot of this beautiful colorway in a yarn that is used for a lot of baby knit patterns. And also Knitting for Olive uses their own base for a lot of the adult patterns. So I have a lot of possibilities with this amount of yarn. There is a batwing dress from Knitting for Olive that is kind of feeling like it wants to be this color. There's also a romper, ruffle dress. We'll see. But I do think this is one of the things that I kind of feel like I want to cast on. I want to cast on something cute for her. I also want to cast on something for me. But yeah, I might start with this. Maybe. We'll see. They sent 2 more hanks of yarn. I really liked this one. I feel like this needs to be a fluffy Christmas sweater or winter sweater. But I have 250 grams, so it's not enough, I think, for a sweater. I would need to knit at a very loose gauge. In that case, this is their Athena bursted mohair, so Athena brushed mohair. It's 56% merino, 24% mohair, and 20% polyamide. So this is the only yarn they sent that do have a little bit of polyamide in it, but it is so pretty that I don't even mind. I think that probably goes into the center structure of the strand of yarn together with the merino and mohair, and it almost has like a little bit of a boucle feeling, but it's not. It's just that the chain has a twist that is very visible, if that makes sense. So we'll see what this will turn out to in the end. If I go in the store and buy 1 more of this, then I could make something for me. I don't think I will make something with this much fluff for the baby. It could go into knitting some pillows. I'm highly considering that, or some accessories. But yeah, it's very pretty and so squishy. And the last yarn that they sent is this hank of yarn. This is their Suri alpaca. It's 100% Suri alpaca, and it's 400 meters to 50 grams. So it's a lace weight. 100 grams would be 800 meters. And this is one that I would think people could use instead of a silk mohair, because it is that very thin lace weight strand of yarn. There is some fluff to it, but nowhere close to the fluff that the silk mohair yarns that I've knit with has. But I think it would make a really nice strand to like follow along with some other yarn if you need just like a little bit more strength to the fabric. Like I have some charcoal hillesvåg, and this could be good to combine just to have like a little bit of a stronger strand of yarn going with it when I'm knitting with it. So I don't think this is not something I will knit up on its own, but I will save it for a future project where I can use it as a strand to follow along with. They also sent a pair of these kind of sock needles. I have never used this kind of sock needle. It's the bendy kind to knit socks instead of DPNs, and I've never tried it, so I'm interested to see how this works for me, if I like it or if I'm gonna stick with my small circulars. They are 3mm needles, so they would be good for the kind of DK weight socks that I knit for gifts that I often hold with silk mohair. So I'm going to try that. And they also sent that row counter bee thing that I had on one of my whips. Yes, that was everything, I believe. Or I do have a yarny advent if you're interested. It's from Yarnworthy, so if you have that and haven't opened it, then spoiler, this is the last thing for this episode, so you can come back later. But let's see, I can start with, I do not have them in chronological order here, but maybe something along this line were the first days of the Advent. I really enjoyed it as I was opening it because I do love green. And then it has moved on to more like ochre, warm, golden yellow tones. And then now it's moving into the orangey red tones. And I am very happy with it so far. I love all of these colors. They are right up my wheelhouse. I do hope it's not going to turn into purpley. This red is kind of feel like it might be going that way, but I hope it doesn't because I like these colors more. The yarn, so the base that I chose, I thought I had chosen a non-superwash base, but apparently not. I chose a superwash base with the fiber content being, it does not say on the ball band, but it was a yak blend, and it's a DK weight, and these are 20-gram minis. So because it is a superwash yarn, I'm not going to be making a garment out of it, for me at least, but I am toying with the idea of making blankets. I always end up wanting to make blankets, but blankets are so useful. I have this blanket, I use it all the time, and upstairs I have a blanket that I made out of Holst Super Soft on like really thin needles, so it was like hundreds and thousands of stitches, but they get a lot of use and they look really nice, and I want more blankets in my life. This will probably be a blanket for Nelly, but I do have a testknit blanket coming up, and that will be using 100 grams of DK and not 20-gram ones. Of course, I could combine some to make like several colors in one pillow, but I don't think that's the way I'm going. But there's the Sweet Shop blanket from Laura Penrose. That might be something that I make. Maybe something chevron if I want to just stick with these colors, and they're flopping all over the floor here. But yeah, we shall see. The colors are beautiful though, so I'm excited to see how like the last week of the Advent is leaning. This Advent was called the Warm and Fuzzy Fade Countdown Calendar, and this was the mood board. And the mood board was, you know, the kind of colors that I enjoy. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm hoping it stays in like the red family and not the purple family. But that's just my personal color preference. And the thing with Advents is you don't really know what you're getting. So yeah. I think that was everything for today. My tea is cold, and I'm gonna insert some video at the end now. Since last time we had the traditional sheep's head dinner, so I can put that at the very end. Would that be best? So you can just end the video if you don't want to see that. I can either I'll do a timestamp or I'll insert a photo like warning if people don't want to see that. It's delicious though, and it uses the whole sheep, so I think it's really nice. But yeah, it does look a bit disturbing. But before that, I'll insert some video of making Christmas cookies. And yeah, if I have recorded anything else, I don't remember. Whatever I have, I'll insert it. And yeah, I hope that you're well. I hope that you're enjoying the month of December, whatever that month is to you, and that you're making all the things that make you happy. And hopefully I will see you soon. Bye!